Good day, mate. How you going? For this episode of Pod Educator, we'll come with some business models and some core concepts of entrepreneurship. Well, what's your definition of business model? What's a business model? Do you think it's better for a business to be easy and simple to manage, or something safer and more well protected? Why would you say so? What kinds of risks involve having a business, owning a business? Have you heard of the term sole proprietorship? How about LLC or even a corporation? What do you think these things are, these names are? What's the difference between them? How do you think like an entrepreneur should think when it comes to deciding whether a business should stay small or grow bigger? What comes to their minds when they decide that they want to grow their business or they want to keep their businesses small? Is your business big or small nowadays? Do you have a business? Are you an entrepreneur? Does it matter for banks or investors the type of businesses or even like the business structure that people choose to open? Can anyone starting a business actually have a business model for it? Or even a line of credit to access more money to grow the business? Or is there a difference between the type of business and the amount of money people are able to get? Well, let's consider a person who moves from a certain country and this person goes to another country, to a smaller town, to start a business. And this person chooses this city because of the flow of tourists that actually visit this city, which is pretty high. And this person sees that these people like to visit like the museum of the city, coffee shops, and other small things, these small businesses around the city. But these people are complaining how to get around in the city because since it's a small city, they don't have good public service or they don't have access to transportation inside that city. And although the city is small, this person has visitors. It's actually long walking distances to go from one place to the other and get to know more things, more places in the city. Well, just considering this fact, we can perceive, we can notice there's a gap in the market. And what's this gap? What do you think it is? Well, it could be a means of transportation for people who visit the city. And of course, it's limited, but if we consider that a lot of these people, they are young adults, people who visit the city, we can definitely pick the option of a bicycle. A bicycle rental company where tourists could easily rent bicycles, even through like apps on their phones by reading a QR code or something like it. And through that same app, they will receive recommendations of places that these people can visit in that city. With, who knows, even like a guided tour, like a tour guide who will guide these people throughout the city for an extra fee. Now, this person who has this idea, is this person an entrepreneur or not? Well, no, actually, this person is not an entrepreneur yet until this person turns this idea into an action. From the moment that this idea becomes an action, this person becomes officially an entrepreneur. And I'm not talking about a business being successful here. I'm talking about a business kickoff here, the business starting. When the business has started, this person has become an entrepreneur. And this person is taking a risk to make something work, to make a new idea work. So other people are assisted and helped by that idea. And this person is making other people's lives easier or simpler, in this case, to go out and about in the city. Now remember, sole proprietorship. Yes, well, maybe a good option here is sole proprietorship, because it's low cost. There's not a lot of paperwork to be filed. And well, it's yourself. You have less trouble, less people to deal with, less problems to deal with in the beginning. It sounds very manageable, and the owner in the beginning could keep all the profit to themselves. There's a major risk, however, because what if someone is involved in an accident to one of those bicycles? Who is responsible for that? Well, since in this case there's no separation between owner and business, The owner of the business could be at risk of having to use their personal money and even properties, if they have properties, to pay for the damage, to pay for the injuries, hospital bills, and whatever happens to this person, this tourist, this visitor using this company's bike. And there's another point here that if this person wants to expand his business from a sole proprietor, it's very hard to grow. Well, it can be a little bit hard, to grow the business from this point on. And that is definitely one of the challenges of becoming an entrepreneur and a sole proprietor. So another option would be a limited liability company, or the one that I have mentioned, which is the LLC. It's more effort, it's more expensive, it's costly to set it up. A lot of paperwork, there's like annual fee that it's necessary to be paid. But in this case, like case of accidents, for instance, it definitely offers more protection for the owner of the business. Because the business owner would, the money that this person has and the properties would be protected, would be safe if the business faced any kinds of debts or even lawsuits. Because when we open a business, we must consider all these trouble, of course. And the only thing here at risk would be the company's assets. And in this case, in addition to that, if this person wants to grow this business, it's much simpler to grow the business and to change its tax status, or even perhaps bring a partner, because it's not a sole proprietor anymore. Therefore, there's definitely more credibility and protection from an LLC. However, with double taxation that comes from that goes to the company itself and the shareholders, feels like overkill. It feels like it's so hard and the business may not survive just from the fact that this person will have to pay a lot of taxes, and it will be very bureaucratic, and this person will have even to pay more professionals to help deal with this type of financial situation. Nevertheless, nothing as peaceful as running a business without having to worry about personal finances and making sure that your personal finances are safe. So the best option was definitely LLC for that person. And simple steps, well, what are the simple steps to have a shop like that? Well, definitely start with the rental of a shop, because this person would need a space for that. Buy some motorcycles and even have someone to work, maybe someone like an intern or someone like who is at the freshman year of university, to get some freelance pay or something like it, in order for this person to help with the tours, with the bikes, or even like to promote that a little bit. You have to do some marketing on it, show people that they have this access to these bicycles in the city, and perhaps even have some sort of system in the bikes where there is a lock, where with an access code with the phone, the person who is renting the bike can unlock this lock, this digital lock, through a QR code or something like it, and this person will be able to start riding the bike. Easy as that. Is it easy to be an entrepreneur? Definitely not. Every entrepreneur will face challenges, different proportion. It depends on how much money is involved, or even how many people are involved, or the kind of business, or how much time you have been running a company, and the experience you have, and the segment of that business. So every little thing, every detail matters. But I'm sure every entrepreneur is always excited to know about the next steps of their businesses. Aren't you, if you are not an entrepreneur yourself? If you can stop and think for a moment, just to get you guys going, just to see if we are on the same page here, what are from more or less what I've spoken here, what is the main advantage of a sole proprietorship in case you want to open a business like that? And what is the biggest risk of being a sole proprietorship? And how does that differ from being the owner of an LLC? What kind of protections does the LLC provide that the sole proprietorship doesn't? And in this case of this small town and this bike rental company, why is it better to have an LLC instead of a sole proprietorship? Do you really believe, do you agree it's better to have an LLC in this case rather than a sole proprietorship? Why? Why not? Can you share some thoughts with me? Yeah, can you comment here in the comment section so I know your opinion about it? And why not a corporation for this case? Well, definitely a corporation is too complex, and I don't believe it's a good deal for small businesses. If you have a big business, yeah, or medium or big business, a large business, that would work much better for sure. Now, if you could give people some advice, yeah, it's good. Share in the comment sections here. I can even make a video about these ideas, but what kind of advice would you give to someone starting a business? And someone who is, or even some advice to someone who has already started their business. They are in the first, second, third year of the business, and they are planning to grow their businesses. What is your advice? What is your recommendation? How can a person from scratch start growing their businesses? This case of the bike rental company, what kind of recommendation, what kind of advice would you give to perhaps a new service besides like the bike, the example of the lock, or even like the person giving a tour to the tourists coming to the city and showing maybe how to ride a bike or how to get this bike going, or even like places these people could go, and the map in the app, yeah, things that I mentioned. What are other features that we could add to this business of the bike rental company, yeah, or even new services? What do you think? Perhaps an electric bike, like I'm thinking right now, and a professional who would have easy access to a platform where this person would see how low or high the battery is, yeah, the battery charge is. So this person could go to this bike, take the battery, put a new battery in that bike without needing to remove the bike from that place, and taking that battery, the battery that is used, to a charging station, charge this battery, so that this person could use this battery to a different bike. Save time, save money, optimize the trips and the access to the bikes that have already been used. Sharing ideas, brainstorming, this is the best way to help growing a business. How could you guys use like technology, like apps, websites, even online reservations for these bikes, for instance, to make a business stronger? Yeah, because what if like there's a period in the year that there are a lot of tourists coming to the city, and the bikes, this person could understand, yeah, the owner of the business could understand that all bikes have been booked, have been reserved, and this person could even buy more bikes and understand the demand in certain times of the year, or even rent some bikes for some period. And increase the price according to the demand in just specific periods of the year, just because this person would have access to a certain number of bikes by doing a survey and a study, of course, understanding how many people travel in that area in certain times of the year, certain periods of the year. And a question for you guys think and even share your ideas here with me is, if you started a business today, or if you already have a business, but if you were planning to start a business, what kinds of risks would you be personally willing to take in order to make this work? Be it a small business or a business that you are planning to grow. Stay sharp, stay educated, and grow as a professional. Thanks for watching. Peace.